crafty friends. It's September 2021 and I'm here to share my card for the Karen Burniston Designer Challenge. Our theme this month was snow or sun. I decided to go with sun for a little trip to the beach before school gets started. I wanted to make the double pop and swap using the technique that Karen shared last month. As you can see, when the card is closed, right here on the top, we have some little flip-flops, a necessity for a day at the beach. And down here, a little sand crab. When you open it up, those guys disappear. Out comes the sun and a cute little sea turtle. This is so much fun. You could just do this all day. But let's get down to business. I'm not going to share the whole construction of this card because Karen did an excellent video on how she constructed the double pop and swap, and that is linked below. Also linked below you will find all the products that I used on this card. I like to use lots of different pieces from several different sets, and they are all listed below. Now I'm going to share a few tips with you on how I made this card because I used acetate for part of it, and as all of you know, things happen when you make cards. Now I'm not suggesting that you make your card the way I did mine. I'm going to show you a little bit easier way to do it. Sometimes when I make a card, I know where I'm going when I get started, but it doesn't always end up there. This card was completely finished using blue for the construction pieces, the same shade as this. But then I didn't like the blue sticking up here because I didn't use the other parts of the die that has a little square. I decided I wanted everything to be independent. So I had to cut off all of those tabs and put my pieces on acetate and then put them back in the card. Now, that's not the way I suggest you do it. Here's an easier way to do it. If you've made this pop-up card before, you'll know that this is the inside mechanism. Now instead of, when you get it cut out and you find all your folds, what I suggest you do is cut off the tabs and leave a little bit right here. I left about a ½ inch because when you make your acetate tab, you want something to connect that to. So right here is where the tab starts. I cut it off right here, and I did the same thing over here. Now, for acetate, you don't want to use anything that's too heavy. I know this is really hard to see on the camera, but I hope you can get an idea. This is flexible acetate, and it's just right for this card. Now, I know there's many kinds of acetate out there, and sometimes it is hard to find. What I like to do is when I buy a stamp set, you know how they come with two pieces of acetate, one on each side? One has the printed piece, which is your guide for your stamps, but on the other side there's usually a clear piece. I take those off, store my stamps in boxes, and I save this extra piece for projects just like this. My card looks cute and it works perfectly, but I want to share a few more things that went wrong along the way. The very first thing that happened was I didn't follow Karen's instructions and I put the second pop and swap on incorrectly, and I glued it over here when I should have glued it over here. When I tore it off, I left a big glob of blue paper there. So this is what I call a creative detour. I just put a beach ball in a shell there. Nobody will ever know the difference unless I tell them. The other thing is, Karen talked about catch spots, and you have to be careful of that when you put your mechanism in, or you put your pieces that move. They want to catch here. So for this one, when I put it on there, I could see that the top of the tortoise was underneath this bottom pop and swap. So he slides under here, and he was catching on there. So I put acetate over the top of him to make it slide. When I made the tab, I put the tortoise under the acetate and connected it. Now the little crab is a whole different story. He wanted to catch on the bottom of this piece, so I put the acetate on the bottom so that he would slide back and forth. So even if you're the most experienced card makers, mistakes happen. Just make the best of it and go on from there. I hope you've enjoyed seeing my little tips today and seeing my fun card. And I hope that you'll give it a try. Until next time, bye-bye.